But isn't that strange? Right? Like,
Yeah, well, it's
oh my god. That's like that. Yeah. If that could happen, the whole thing turns into. I don't actually drink a lot. No,
Okay.
it's true. I only drink in public. Like, I don't actually.
I drink.
Absolutely anything. Money's no object. Oh, I'd really love to start my cultural railroad. It's a money no object idea. It would be, you know how Sir John A. Macdonald connected Canada by putting in the railroad? Well, I've got this project I'd love to have happen called the Cultural Railroad, wherein we would build theaters that were all exactly the same footprint.
Love it.
Like the actual stage was the same size, and the equipment was the same, and that each of these places would have like a little hotel attached to them, like a little bed sit and stuff.
Love it.
Because what it would be for is that Canadians could make touring shows and could take them across country incredibly easily. Because I find that we do all this work into developing new plays, and we do them for like 2 weeks here, and then they're dead. Wherein I say you take that Canadian culture and you push it right across the country, one way or the other. And so then shows would be able to travel all the way around from one side of the country to the other and bring, like, we'd all know what everybody was doing, which I think would be really gorgeous. And I think, the reason I came up with that idea was I was trying to think, how could the federal government actually support this? The federal government has to do something that's completely for the whole country, as opposed to for individual places. And I thought, what do they do best? They do buildings, hospitals, schools. They do like government buildings. So this would just be a bunch of government buildings, really. And it would be amazing to be able to do. I've always been fascinated by Oscar Wilde. So, and I have the Wilde Festival as something that's in my back pocket, because he was not only witty, he was also very political, and and he it's interesting. Like, he went down for something that we have parades about now, right? So it's interesting to live at a time when who you are and what you're trying to be, when you're just trying to be free, can send you to your death, really.
Well, even
I always thought Gandhi was a good guy, I mean, that's about as close. Jesus would be fun to talk to if he existed.
assuming he exists.
If I had a smaller amount of unlimited money, then I just set myself up nicely at some theater and I just buy it and then just be able to do it without any fear of getting kicked out ever. I was always obsessed with Marilyn Monroe when I was a kid, but I don't know if I'd like to speak to her so much as I might just want to give her a hug and give her some lunch. I feel like that poor girl had a tough go of it.
Beyond, where would you go?
I just want to go to Paris. Is that silly? I mean, and my problem is the longer I put it off, the more I think, it's been my dream my whole life. In fact, I kind of think that when I was dead, there was all these, you sign up for all the things you want to do, and the lineup of go to Paris was so long that I started signing up for, just everything else randomly, and then as soon as this line got short enough and I was going to sign up for go to Paris, it's like, I just got born. So I missed signing that one. And my problem with that is now that I've been wanting to do it my whole life, which is now going on 50 years, I don't think the Paris I want to go see is there anymore.
Oh.
It was born out of you know how they, you were an overnight sensation and it only took you 28 years or whatever? Well, this one took me 40 years, but I've always wanted to have a theater, a space, because I believe that a theater is the canvas for the actor. Now, and yet, I've also, my marriage broke up right around the time I was 40, and finally nobody could say no to me. Because the number of times I tried to open a theater in the 20 years previous were often and many. And the person that I was financially obliged to, even though it was still all be coming from me, was like, no, that's a bad idea.
I didn't know that.
Oh, many, 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 many times. There are so many buildings around here that were almost theaters. It's very funny. Some really amazing ones, like there's three buildings next, well, they're now three, it used to be one, next to Jilly's, when Jilly's was still Jilly's and not
whatever it is now.
Not the she. Those 3 buildings, I almost bought them back in '95 to put a theater in. I could have gotten those 3 buildings, which were one at the time, which was already a theater, by the way. Had a slope thing and everything because it had been a movie theater in the 20s. Almost got that building for $150,000. So this was born out of nobody being able to say no to me, and me saying, okay, now I'm single. I either have to get a job, like give up theater, get a job doing something corporate to sustain my kids, or I can make it a go at least make it a go as an entrepreneur. Now, when I started the Red Sandcastle Theatre, I paid the rent for an entire year up front, and I gave myself a year. I gave myself a year to see if it would work or if it wouldn't, and it did. So I've been doing it now for 7 years.
What does that mean, a commie?
Well, I just mean I'm a communist. I believe that if we all work together, we can achieve more working together as opposed to fleecing ourselves. I don't like a capitalistic model. I don't believe that you take a thing, you make something, right? Here's the problem with capitalism in a nutshell. I make an object, right?
Yeah.
That object costs me 25 cents to make.
Yeah.
I give it to you for 50 cents because it, to give the time that it took me to make it.
Right.
That person gives it to somebody, sells it to somebody else for $3.
Yes.
That person sells it to somebody else for $10. This goes on. Pretty soon because I've only made 50 cents for my thing, can't afford the object that I made.
Right.
That's just wrong.
With you.
That's right. I'm really proud of everything that Eric Wolf does in here. He does amazing shows year after year. Very proud how he transforms this space. I'm really proud of our pantomimes every year. I think they're hilarious, and I love them, and I'm part of it. So I love transforming the space. I love all the different companies and what they bring in. There was a great Rabbit Hole was here. It was amazing a number of years ago. Like just all the different shows that come in bring their own. I'm mostly just so proud. Like one day, I'm just babbling now, but I remember once I like waking up only a couple of weeks ago and I was like, wait now, as I speak, there are people all over Toronto thinking about or rehearsing or doing things to do shows here later in the year. And it was just kind of amazing. It was like if it was truly to form, it would be like a staff of hundreds, it's great. All these people busying away doing their thing, and I love that. I'm really very happy and ecstatic about that. I think we did probably the best production of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf here that was ever seen. But I'm very
in a
proud of
small
that.
space, that's challenging.
Oh, it was great. Oh, it was so amazing because it was like the audience was just right there. It was like they were stuck in the room with Martha. Martha and George, oh no. I'm really pleased with the quality of everybody that walks through the door. Mostly because when you're doing it here, you're doing it because you really want to. I kind of consider it a professional playground because it's professional people for the most part doing stuff.
That you do.
1,000 Monkeys?
Thank you, too.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually born as an idea the first day I got the keys to this place. And I've always loved, I got into playwriting because of a 24-hour playwriting contest down at the Alumni Right Now Festival.
Right.
And I kind of loved that idea, but I always thought what would be fun is if all the writers stayed, right? But what we do is we set up mattresses in the basement. Bert Campbell, who's done it every year since we started, he's like, it's some weird refugee camp downstairs, or maybe a brothel, but there's no sex going on, so I'm not sure. Anyway, it's very funny. And then we get food from the local businesses, so they provide us with breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. And we stay here for 24 hours from Friday night at 6 o'clock until Saturday at 6 o'clock. And write. And there's no length. You can write whatever length you want. You get 3 words, which we write up onto the wall. And then the other thing is an overarching theme, which my friend Jane Shields, who's a playwright in New York City, she thinks of it. And so I don't even know what it's going to be. She calls me at 6 o'clock, tells me what it is, and I write it on the wall.
Love it. So if you had anything like pet project or anything that...
Actually, you've caught me in a really weird time because I just came off of 2 major ones. So right now, I'm actually renovating my house of Shakespeare in the fall,
Love it.
which is the first time I'll have done a major Shakespearean role.
Where?
We're here. We're doing Twelfth Night. So weird. I became an actress when I was really young. I started acting when I was 8, and then started doing at least 5 shows a year from the time I was 12. So and
Now, is that professionally or?
Professionally from the time I was 18. Yeah.
And where was that, dear?
Down in Kingston, Ontario.
Ah.
Yeah, that's my hometown. So as a result, I didn't get those years of doing Shakespeare that the other people did, right? Because when you're doing professional theater, when you're young, you're doing stuff like theater for young audiences, like, what about math? and like you know, and like
Totally.
Like the Girl Project, and like you're doing that, and you're not doing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like when you have those early years when you're not actually getting paid. That's when you get to do like Julius Caesar and Cymbeline and all of that, right? You get to do the Two Gentlemen of Virgin Verona and all that. But like for me. The only time I've done Julius Caesar, but then I was the prophet. I had 3 lines, 2 of them were the same. The more and more I really love design. I love doing sets and I love doing costumes. I get a real kick out of that. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I love that about this place because you can switch it up however you want, and really do. Like if you ever see a show that I'm involved with, you have, right, Jack?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen like when I was really proud of Beauty Queen of Lebanon when we did it here. That was an amazing show to do. And when we did I Blythe, which was a modernized version of a thing, I really got to go to town on the sets. Not a design challenge.
Okay.
In that you do only have to make like 20 square feet look good. You know what I mean? Like it's not
like $50,000.
It's not like $50,000 to do giant risers or whatever. Like I just did for I Blythe, we just put stairs leading up to the sink. So you walked off the sink. Like whatever. Just stick a board over the sink so the actors don't fall in.